It's time for another professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I got for you today is a Zerg vs Terran played on Mech Depot LE. Spawning here in the southwest corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, and hailing from Brazil, we have none other than Kelazhur. And his opponent, spawning in the cross position and playing with the red Zerg drones all the way from Finland, he goes by the nickname of Serral. Now, just because I was curious, right, before starting up this video, I had a quick look at my YouTube analytics, and it turns out that there are indeed about 2 times as many viewers from Brazil as there are from Finland. So as far as rivalries go, I guess that Brazil has won that part, although I guess that, Brazil is a massive country, of course. It's quite a bit bigger than Finland, so I don't know exactly how fair that comparison is going to be, but regardless, both of these players in this match are qualified for the World Championship Series Grand Finals coming up at BlizzCon in just a couple of weeks from now. Now, the way that the tournament works is that while there's currently 16 people that are qualified for it, I believe that at BlizzCon itself, they will only play the top 8. So essentially what that means is that still half of all of the players will have to get eliminated. And the way that they do so is by playing 4 different groups of 4 players as well. And out of every group, 2 players will advance. Now, Serral is in a very difficult group. He's in a group together with Innovation, True, and Gumiho. Now, I do think that Serral can quite easily take out True, although that's always going to be a Zerg vs Zerg, and Zerg vs Zerg is a rather difficult matchup to call. I mean, one slight misstep and you may end up accidentally losing the game. But Gumiho and Innovation, I mean, they're both Terran players, and they both won a GSL Code S this year. So by no stretch of the imagination is that going to be an easy group to win. Likewise, I would say the same really for Kelazhur. Kelazhur is in a group together with Elazer, Hero, and Dark. Now, I do think that he can take out Elazer, but Kelazhur is gonna have to go up against Hero and Dark as well, and Dark is widely considered to be one of the very best Zerg players, if not the very best Zerg players on the planet, and Hero is probably the best Protoss together with Stats and Neeb. So we'll see exactly how both of these players will be able to perform at that tournament. I am personally really looking forward to it. I hope they both will be able to cause some upsets. I in particular do think that Serral has got a very good chance, because we've seen him play quite a bit against a lot of the Korean professionals, and the guy's an absolute monster. He beats them all the time. Now, by the way, if you are indeed going to BlizzCon and you see me there, definitely come say hi. I will be there the entire event, so definitely if you do see me, come say hi, because I would love to go ahead and, have a bit of a chat. I know that some people apparently get a little bit scared when they see me at events. I mean, guys, I'm just a nerd. I just really like video games, and just because some people happen to watch my stuff, I always really enjoy, talking and hanging out with some viewers as well. So if you do see me there, definitely don't be afraid to come up and say hi, because I always would like to, meet viewers. It's always awesome. It's one of my favorite things to do when I am at gaming events. Now, before I start rambling on about more and more random, unrelated tasks, let's have a quick look at the game. Oop, there we go. Does get the knight right there from moving inside of that main base, but Serral going for that quick Zerging speed in the earlier part of the game will allow himself to not only be safe against all kinds of different early game Zerg, versus Terran cheeses, as well as getting a little bit of scouting information right there with those first 2 Zerglings that apparently gave their life for the swarm. He did confirm that there is a factory out right now with a reactor on it, so that means that Kelazhur is indeed going to be going for that very quick switch towards the double Hellion production. Serral, however, even though he went for the quick Zerging speed, he also decided to go for the very quick Overlord speed, and he will be able to confirm exactly what the build here for the Terran player is going to be. And it looks like Kelazhur is going for a pretty standard 1-1-1 kind of setup. So 1 barracks, 1 factory, and then 1 starport as well. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we do see Kelazhur harassing a creep tumor right here that's laid down at the 3rd base location of Serral. Serral already bringing up a pretty significant amount of queens, but it's actually an SCV on the other side of the map, and apparently Kelazhur is gonna proxy a fusion core? He's gonna proxy a fusion core? Now, before you get really hyped up, we see this every now and then in professional StarCraft 2. Even though there's a tech lab right there on that starport, and it could potentially be Battlecruisers, I think that Kelazhur must be taking this match a little bit more seriously than that, and he's probably gonna be going for the, I think it's called Advanced Ballistic Upgrade, We'll see whether or not that's going to be true. But the advanced ballistics, I believe is what that upgrade is called. Regardless though, it's an upgrade that allows you to increase the range of the anti-ground mode on your Liberators. So indeed, yeah, we do see the queue up right there of the Liberator of that star, or in that starport right there. So even though Kelazhur has the option to switch towards Battlecruisers here, and hopefully he will do something along those lines a little while later. If he shows a Battlecruiser at like the 6-minute mark in this match, Serral just simply moves across the map and kills him. I mean, it's going to be a very, very tough bolt at that point because, you know, Serral is going to be able to respond to that very nicely. Now, this is still a build, actually, that can do a huge amount of damage. So far, nice pickup right there by Serral, dealing with this early game aggression very nicely. But here's the thing, right? Zerg players lately in the Zerg vs Terran matchup have been playing rather greedy. Not only are they skipping out their spore crawlers very often, they're also not even going for a Spire anymore, and they're going for a quick Hydra Ling Bane style instead. And this is going to be at a location where it will never get scouted. Kelazhur is going to be able to get that upgrade done, and the Liberators are going to have a lot of range to them. It's going to be very tough for the Zerg to deal with, in particular without Mutalisk. Now, at this point in time, there is a single Spore Crawler going down. I guess that Serral may have gone back in there. Yeah, there we go. He does have an Overseer right now available. He will indeed confirm that there is a nice little green light right there glowing at that tech lab on the starport. But that indeed is not going to be the cloaking field for the Banshee, which is more than likely what Serral is assuming at this point in the game. But it is going to be a ranged upgrade for the Liberator instead. I wonder how powerful this is going to be. Kelazhur has done a good job right now cleaning up most of the Overlord vision on the map, really forcing the Zerg player to retreat any kind of vision that was available. But at this point, immediately, Kelazhur is going in for the damage. This is going to be a very tough position to hit. Look at that. You need to actually commit here with the Queens if you want to try and hit that Liberator. Now, there is a lot of energy available. Serral actually already saving up energy here on the Queens, so he may have just been able to decide here by the timing of the starport there what exactly it is that's going on in this game. And even though Kelazhur is doing a solid amount of damage so far, he really only got 5 workers there, which is not quite what he was hoping for. A new Liberator, however, in the main base is going to try and deal a little bit more damage as well, but really well dealt with so far by Serral here, the Zerg player in this match. Actually, I'm really surprised that he decided to save up energy there on those Queens, really allowing him to get a lot more, you know, a lot more value out of that. And apparently, this was shut down with absolute ease. Brilliant play there by Serral. This is a build order right here from the Terran that if you get caught with your pens down can just actually lose you the game right from the get-go. And I think that Serral must have realized the timing right there on that starport. He must have realized that he did not see any Banshees just yet, and he must have noticed that it could only really be one thing at that point. Even though he hadn't seen a fusion core, he decided to save up some energy right there on his Queens to just simply deal with that very, very quickly. That was very nicely done. Now he's going to be able to send these Zerglings across the map. I guess he's going to try and see if he can find the fusion core anywhere nearby. But I got it handed right there to Serral with a very quick response time, dealing with that absolutely brilliantly, not hesitating whatsoever. Now there is going to be a bit of a push here across the map. And apparently a couple of Zerglings are going for the counterattack right now as well, although there are some reinforcing Marines and a single Marauder there as well that should be able to stop this just fine. At the exact same time, there is a huge amount of army here across the map for the Zerg, or for the Terran player rather, and dealing with that Zerg army super nicely here as well. Slowing down the advancement there of the creep is going to be a big deal on its own already, and the 2-2 upgrades are already being researched here as well. Really impressive with Kelazhur. Look at the supply counts, right? Heavily in favor right now of the Terran player in blue, although apparently I say that and Serral immediately evens it up. At the same time though, 2 medevacs were just loaded up with units as well. They're going to try and see if they can fly across the map. Viking here clearing a path in the process just to make sure that they arrive there mostly unnoticed. Although I think that the Zerg player is not going to be able to fall for that here, at the very least here for the time being, just because Serral is one of the best defensive players, and already he's got Zerglings here in the top right corner of the map to be able to deal with that just fine. Just simply teching up towards the hive right now is Serral as well, going up to the double upgrades, getting himself the burrow upgrade, and he's already got a few infestors out here too that should make defending against marine-based armies here at the very least a little bit easier. Once again though, stim forward right there, trying to bait all of these units into the Widow Mine, doing so absolutely brilliantly. Kelazhur showing the micro that he is well known for, just simply not missing a beat, cleaning up the creep, and denying his opponent that valuable scouting information. Very, very well done. So far, though, we all know what happens, right? When Serral manages to max out, it's going to be a very tough fight to hold. He's also doing a very good job having dedicated queens here to continuing that creep spread. Even though it got denied here for a little while, look at that, right? The creep is still everywhere, all over this map. I mean, we're 10 minutes into it and it's already covered about half of the map at this point. And if it wasn't denied, it would have been much further. But Serral is just simply replacing as many of these tumors as he possibly can. Now, +2/+2 is just about to finish up here for the infantry weapons here for the Terran player. There is now an infestor here in the ground as well, burrowed. A fungal growth, of course, could absolutely murder all of these units, but once again, Kelazhur making smart decisions, not really allowing the Zerg player to advance, and he is currently maxed out with the Zerg player hanging out at about 188 supply right now. Planetary Fortress right here, taken in the middle of the map as well. Kelazhur taking a very strong defensive position, apparently not quite finishing up that single supply depot right there at the top, but he's got a lot of units here across the map trying to figure out exactly what it is that the Zerg player is going for. Map in the middle of the map now also, or rather base right here in the middle of the map, also taken by Serral. He's not gonna be allowed to get walked over that easily, just simply transitioning towards that Ultralisk cavern. I would actually really like to see, hold that thought, there's an infestor right now in the middle of all of this army. Is the Zerg player gonna try and advance? Oh my god, this has gone unscouted so far. Hold that thought! Beautiful fungal growth goes down right away. The scan there does confirm that there was indeed going to be an infestor burrowed there in the middle of that army. Still, there is so much Terran here left over, though, doing a great job kiting back. And while a lot of the Terran supply did end up dying there, Kelazhur is doing a very good job picking up those burrowed banelings there as well, dealing with all of this Zerg army very nicely, although Serral did even up the army supply right there for just a little bit, doing so very nicely. That was not an easy decision to make there whatsoever. Now, what I was gonna say is that we see that quick transition right here from Serral towards a lot of upgrades. He's going for Adrenal Glands, going for the chitinous plating, going for +1 missile, and +2 melee is just about to finish up as well. He's actually gonna start up +3 armor right from the get-go here as well. So essentially what that means is that Serral just invested thousands of resources into upgrades that will only become helpful a couple of minutes from now. And that's something that's very scary, right? If you do that as a Zerg player and a Terran moves across the map, it can become very scary. But just winning that slight little skirmish there, I think gives him the confidence to indeed spend all of those resources. Now, interestingly enough as well, instead of going for Ultralisk right from the get-go, there are currently 4 Vipers here on the production tab, which I think must be due to the fact that there are now a lot of Liberators already out in the sky. Does look like a fungal growth once again went down. However, he's dealing with it very nicely so far is Kelazhur. Another infestor right there does have to roll on over and die, because apparently while the Zerg is trying to advance onwards here, the Marine Micro is very solid. A lot of those Banelings do roll into the Marauders, and all of a sudden, these Hydralisk did lose that buffer. Once again, though, reinforcing Banelings are coming in, kiting backwards once again. Beautiful control here by Kelazhur, but I think that he eventually will have to get, yeah, indeed, he will have to evacuate all of the units on out of there, because the Zerg is going to be able to take control of that for a little while longer. But so far, genuinely impressed here by the way that Kelazhur is approaching this. He just followed it up with 3 more command centers as well. Look at that. Getting a ton of economy here as well. That means that Kelazhur is gonna rely quite a bit less on, you know, anything that's called an SCV at this point in the game, right? Just simply helping those mules out will make it significantly easier for him. Because, of course, if you are maxed out as a Terran player, right? If you can spend about 160 of that supply on army units, that's gonna be significantly better than spending about 80 of that supply on SCVs as well. So the more SCVs can be replaced right now with mules that, of course, don't cost any supply, the better it's gonna be here for the Terran player. Now, Zerg has a menacing force, though. Zerg is currently maxed out, and Zerglings are actually trying to perform a run-by right now as well. Adrenal Glands is done, so they will be able to clean that up very nicely. At the same time, the Terran units are currently advancing onwards here in the center of the map, so that base will most definitely end up dying in just a matter of seconds. Reinforcing Terran units are trying their very best to deal with all of this army as well, but it looks like Kelazhur is dealing with this crisis management very nicely by just simply getting more and more units across the map and multitasking to the best of his abilities. Although, so far, 12 SCVs ended up dying, and there are Zerglings everywhere. This base so far has not been secured just yet, which is rather annoying. Just a single Zergling preventing a ton of lost mining time there, and and Zerglings are now burrowed everywhere as well, really upping the ante here for the Zerg player and actually getting a lot more value out of that slight little Zergling run by than he must have anticipated himself as well. Planetary Fortress right now taken here in the bottom right hand corner of the map. This is awfully close here to the Zerg's bases as well. I wonder how this is going to be a point of tension here for the Terran, because apparently Terran is now advancing onwards here to another base that is right below the one of the main of the Terran. However, look at this. There are indeed a lot of Vipers available. They are gonna abduct a ton of these Liberators out of the sky as well. That means that indeed they will be pushed out of their liberation zones. Queens available right now too, picking up every single last of these units, and at the same time Zerglings once again going in for the run by. Serral, even though he was on the back foot here for quite some time, all of a sudden he's marching across the map with a massive army, showing what he's capable of, right? He's finished a lot of the upgrades, he's got all of the upgrades that he wanted to go for done right now, and it gives him the confidence to move with the army that he's got and just simply push across the map. His strategy for this game was to go ahead and defend against anything that the Terran player wanted to throw at him. He did so very, very nicely, and since then he's been capable of moving across instead. Now that he's got chitinous plating, now that he's got +3 done, and he's actually just about to finish up +3 melee as well, that will make these Zerglings and Ultras so very powerful. This is going to be a very tough push to hold though right now for Kelazhur. Kelazhur was in firm dominance of this game just a minute or two ago, but now that the Vipers are, you know, abducting all of these units, all of a sudden the Ultralisks have almost free reign of this, even engaging where the Planetary Fortress is located. I think that this is going to be a slight overextension here by the Zerg player, although the Ultralisks will be able to get on out of there. At the same time though, Planetary Fortresses are still mining here in the bottom right hand corner of the map as well, and this is still not going to be an easy thing to deal with if you are the Zerg player. There are, however, a lot of Banelings available. Will they go after the Planetary Fortress? It looks like they have decided to not do so. However, eventually, apparently, they turned back around and still blew up that Planetary. If you look at the right hand side of the map right now though, look at all of the bases here for Zerg. Even though Zerg has been under a ton of pressure throughout the majority of this game, Serral has done a great job just simply securing all of these bases and really holding on here for dear life. And because of that, he's managed to work himself up to 80 workers. He's replaced a lot of the creep spread as well, and he's just simply doing a great job moving across the map. It almost feels like he's trying to corner in the Zerg at this, or rather the Terran player at this point in the game. And I think that this base so far has actually gone completely unscouted. Look at that. You can just barely see the glow right there of these mineral patches being mined. But I wonder if it even really matters. I mean, does he want to engage here? It does look like he doesn't want to do so just yet. A lot of Liberators available though. Gotta be very careful right here if you are the Zerg player. Although apparently he still wants to advance onwards here. A lot of Liberators in the back though. Very nice positioning right there. But at the same time, Zerglings are also running by into the third base location of the Terran player. A dropship goes down, and apparently it did manage to unload all of the Marauders and Marines there as well. They're gonna have to deal with a single Ultra though, and the Ultras just simply deal so much damage. Kelazhur though advancing on the map once again, ahead in the supply count right now. Managed to catch a nice angle here, putting down these liberation zones in a very nice angle, allowing him to pick up the base here right below the main one, and this base definitely is gonna end up falling here as well. Zerglings are trying to go for the run by here once again, going after another expansion. The main command center was lifted up and moved over into that position, but right now this base really is Kelazhur's mining base at this point, right? He really does not want to get this one scouted, and so far for some odd reason the Zergling is just barely not capable of scouting exactly what it is that's going on at that base. Look at that. That is such a close scout there, really not getting any vision just yet. Now, as soon as this gets scouted though, and I think that Serral cleans this up, it's gonna be a tough one to hold, but still so much Terran is available. Look at that. Kelazhur once again maxed out. These are absolutely maxed out Terran armies as well. Once again though, Vipers dealing so much damage, abducting all of their Liberators right on top of all of these Hydras as well, putting the Hydras on hold position while all of the Marine Marauders have to deal with the remainder of the Zerg army right there, pushing the Ultralisk through a funnel, not connecting with these Banelings however, and Serral, while he obtains a slight lead right there, just simply cleaning up all of these Liberators. He's doing a, oh my god, Kelazhur is doing a great job microing backwards and really not taking any terrible trades. Massive amount of medevacs now loaded up with units as well. I think they are going to go for this base here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. This is one of the, last mining bases here for the Zerg as well. Very important that that one stays alive for just a little while longer. And really, at this point in the game, it could be anyone's match. Once again, Zerglings here going in for the run by. The Marines and Marauders are now unloaded out of the medevac, so they're going to be able to stim towards that bottom right-hand corner of the map. Zerglings, however, at this point are burrowed all over it, and this is going to be a tough one to hold. This base, though, immediately does go down. The drones burrowed to live a little while longer, but the scan does confirm that they were in the ground, and they will be able to get on out of there with, at the very least, some of them alive, but not with that hatchery staying intact. These Vipers, though, are really doing a huge amount of damage, really getting a ton of value right at this point in the game. Kelazhur is going to continue mining here, and still, this planetary fortress has been unscouted. I think that the Terran player... Oh no, he should definitely not construct these refineries at this point in the game. That's way too greedy. Once again, though, beautiful fungal growth does go down there. Actually, also setting up a bit of a force field right there with changelings right in the back. But apparently, though, the Marines and the Marauders will have to deal with a very large Zerg force right now. It's 169 supply right now for the Terran player. He's done a great job at cleaning up all of these Zerg mining bases, really preventing the mining here as much as possible. Does Zerg want to engage on top of a planetary fortress? SCV is going straight for the repair there, but apparently it's too much Zerg at this point in the game. Serral cleans up that base, and with that, Kelazhur calls the GG well played, giving his opponent that respect right there that Serral most definitely deserves. And I guess that Serral walks away with a clean victory there. Nonetheless, great match for sure. I'm actually still very impressed with the way that Serral handled that initial bit of aggression there with the Liberator range, right? I mean, that Liberator range could have definitely lost him the game if he was not responding to it as confidently. But I still think that the timing of the Cloaked Banshees was just, it was just missed. And a player of the level of Kelazhur is not going to miss a timing of Cloaked Banshees, right? So I think that Serral must have looked at that. He must have realized that something was researching, and if it wasn't the cloaking field for Banshees, it must be the ballistics upgrade. So he just started saving up energy on the Queens, and he got himself the clean kill on all of those Liberators with just really a couple of transfuses at his, at his disposal. I mean, if he wouldn't have had that, I think it would have been so much more difficult to deal with that, right? Because if you lose those queens, you're going to lose the creep spread, you're really going to lose the momentum. So keeping those queens alive was absolutely crucial, and I think that Serral dealing with that early game pressure, even though he hadn't really scouted precisely what's going on, was key in this match, and it allowed him to push towards that late game where he just simply shines, right? I mean, he just defends. Eventually, he finished up 3-3-3 upgrades, gets himself the chitinous plating and the adrenal glands, and with his Viper, Ultralisk, Hydraling, Bane composition, it's very tough to stop if you are indeed the Terran player. What a great match, though. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright, and I'll see you in the next one.